Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, a discussion and review podcast focused on Star Wars. I'm your host, timvanautreve. Joining me, as always, are my lovely wife, Jennifer Vanautreve.
Hi. I thought you were in the middle of a sentence. Sorry.
No, usually that's the part where you say hi. You're bad at being the second one.
I'm not used to you announcing me first. You always say, with me, as always, is Josh, internet famous, the Tosh.
Yeah. Speaking of Josh, he's not here. He bailed on us. He had something. But we promised episodes on Tuesdays.
And we didn't want David Jeffrey in a hissy.
Right. We don't want him coming after us. So we decided to have... Would you quit shuffling? We decided to have a ringer, come in and take Mason's spot. Somebody who is almost as mean to Jennifer as Mason is. Welcome to the show, Nolan Herman. Hi, Nolan.
Hello, Tim.
Nolan is Jennifer's baby boy.
Yeah. Tim thought, what are we going to do now that Jen has all this freedom to speak her mind without fear of interruption? And then he decided, let's put her teenage son on there.
Yeah.
He likes to argue with everything she says.
That is true. Okay. Well, I got to give credit to Mason for all those empty moments of my speech that he filled and held the role of taking on for me. And meanwhile, I have two people that just stare at me after I pause.
Josh isn't usually talking at this point. He's looking at his phone.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about an episode of Rebels. Which episode of Rebels are we going to be talking about?
Double
Agent Droid. This is episode number whatever, as Mason would say. It doesn't matter. And that's that. So, Nolan, have you watched Star Wars Rebels?
A little bit. I've seen a couple episodes here and there.
Just a couple?
Maybe more than that. Actually, more like 3 or 4.
Okay, so this is like your fourth one.
Something like that, yes.
But he hasn't, I don't think he's seen any of this season yet.
Right,
No.
like he asked like who Ezra was. He's like, is that Ezra?
Yeah, I forgot. I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay.
He watched a little bit of season 1, I think. That's it.
So you came in fairly cold on this episode.
Pretty much.
So that's your in. Meanwhile, we're through Rebels block almost. There's only 2 more episodes left after this one.
3.
Really?
One of them's a double.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
1 and a double.
Why don't you tell us what happened this episode, Jennifer?
Okay, so the beginning of the episode, the crew is getting ready to send a mission. They're sending AP-5 Chopper and Wedge on this mission to this Imperial ship where Wedge is dressed like an Imperial pilot and AP-5 and Chopper are just going to be dropped off by him while he waits, I guess. And they're going to go in and try to retrieve some codes to do something with Lothal. Do you know what the codes are?
Yeah, that's basically to gain entry to Lothal.
So
because they're planning a massive attack to take out those factories.
So that's what the mission is all about. From like the very get-go, Chopper and AP-5 are just like bickering back and forth like toddlers. And in the beginning, Wedge is like super proud of himself and he's really happy that he got chosen for this mission. And then he finds out really quickly that they just picked him to go with the droids because nobody else would want to. AP-5 is actually in charge of the mission. What is he, an Imperial protocol droid? Is that what he's called?
I think so.
He was an Imperial droid. He used to work for the Empire. I'm not really sure how he's sentient or something because he has a personality where the other droids don't. But
I think he just hadn't been wiped. I think that's the thing. Most Imperial droids get wiped on a regular basis, and the Rebels usually don't wipe their droids, so they gain their own personalities.
Okay.
Of that.
So he knows the in and outs of the Imperial system and their lingo and and everything. So he's in charge of the mission. They're fighting. Him and Chopper are fighting the whole way there. Wedge drops them off. They get in fine. And once they get on the ship, Chopper they just don't agree with anything, and Chopper doesn't listen to AP5. Chopper wants to just like right away stick his little screwdriver in this charging station in the hallway or something and tack into the central system so that they can get the codes. But AP5 is like, no, we have to get to the core, whatever. You can't get to the codes from here. They're arguing. He's like, whatever, you do what you want. I'm going to go get the codes. So AP5 gets into this room, gets the codes like immediately, really super fast. He has the codes on this little disc. Chopper sticks his little screwdriver spinner into the wall, and in the meantime, these officers who are kind of like in this control room or command center have realized that there's some unauthorized droids in their facility, and they know that there's like these spy droids out there that work for the rebels. So they're kind of already on to them. So once Chopper tacks into their system, they're able to... First, they just tried to like scan him to find the location of the rebel base. And it's not saved on him in his storage or whatever. So the next thing they decide to do is just take over him completely so that they can see what he sees and that he can lead them to the rebel base. So they do that. So AP5 finds Chopper right after they've kind of taken over and starts talking to him and bragging about getting the codes and everything. And Chopper says something to him. Of course, you can never tell what Chopper's saying, but he says some kind of Imperial term. And so AP5 right away is like, something's up here. He's like, what are you talking about? Why would you say that? And then he's just very suspicious because Chopper's being very agreeable, very polite. He's acting like a subordinate and acting like AP5 is actually in charge of him instead of fighting with everything he says. So they go back to the ship and AP5 starts telling Wedge like immediately that something's wrong with Chopper and he's suspicious, and like Chopper is even being super nice to Wedge, and Wedge is like, I don't care what's wrong with him. He's acting nice to me. That's all that matters. So AP5 just keeps going on and on and on. This is like the weirdest thing ever right now because I have been talking all this time and nobody is saying anything.
You're boring me to death.
Oh my gosh.
Cut to the chase. You're giving way too much detail for an episode.
I'm telling you the episode.
You're telling us every single detail about an episode that doesn't need every detail about it.
I'm not telling every detail.
They get back to the ship.
No. Yes. People have complained about you because you're just like, and then this thing happens, and then this thing happens, and then it's over.
They get back to the ship.
No, I'm going to finish. Josh is gone. I'm going to do a synopsis.
Then hurry up.
Okay. So, where did I leave off? I'm just kidding. Okay, so they get back to the ship. Wedge will not listen to AP5. AP5 even goes so far as to follow Wedge into the bathroom.
No.
I'm going to bring this up.
They haven't been to the ship yet. We can talk about that kind of thing. They're flying back to the main ship. So, oh my
wait,
God.
listen.
I'm talking about back to the ship.
Just listen. I found out they call in Star Wars, or at least in Rebels, they call the bathroom the refresher. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Wedge called it the refresher like 5 times. So he's like, anyway, everybody's ignoring AP5. They're saying Chopper's fine. They get back to the big ship. He tells the rest of the crew there's something wrong with Chopper. They ignore him too. But then Hera figures it out like really quickly. She's like, what's going on? What's wrong with Chopper? And then AP5's like, finally, somebody's listening to me. Chopper traps them in the little hold area or like cargo bay area where there's the big door, whatever it's called. He traps them in there and takes over the ship and drops them out of hyperspace. And they send a P5 outside. On the outside of the ship, there's some kind of override button on the outside of the ship. They send him out there. He gets to it just in time and so they can override the ship. But Chopper, in the meantime, who's being controlled by the Imperials, they know that he is on to them, so they want to get rid of him. So Chopper comes outside, knocks AP5 off the ship. AP5 is just floating in outer space.
You missed the only important thing about the entire episode.
I'm not even done. Are you just trying to quote Josh right now?
No.
I'm not even done with the episode.
Chopper put a data spike into the screwdriver holder
I wasn't
on
done.
the ship. But that happened a long time ago in your synopsis.
No, it didn't. So then
Yes, it did.
they're tracking where they are. The Imperials are tracking them because Chopper's taking over the ship. But since AP5 hit the override button, now they're able to find him. They're able to get out of the holding area, and Zeb zaps him with his
You
thingamaling.
missed. It's like you didn't get it.
I think you're just trying to
Chopper put the data spike in. The data spike was running, and it sent some of the coordinates from the hyperspace computer. So some of them got sent, but AP5 saved the day and got the transmission to stop.
I think you went past that part.
Yes, you did. That was like the only key thing that actually happened this episode, and you missed it.
No, I didn't. I didn't miss anything. So Zeb zaps him. Chopper's knocked out or whatever, and Hera is like furious, and she hooks up some cable into Chopper and then hooks it into the ship. And so she's like, they were controlling him from so far away. They must have a big power system.
She puts the data spike back into Chopper, the thing that you're not thinking.
No, she hooked something else into him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hooked like a cordy.
Yeah, you said she hooked up a cord and then she hooked him up to the ship.
And it looked like she was just gonna like zap like electricity back at them to like fry their computer system so they would lose all that information, which she did. But then it also it electrocuted the crew members in the command center, and then the whole entire ship blew up. So she just like killed their entire ship with the crew. It wasn't like a Star Destroyer, but it was not a small ship.
It was like a surveillance ship. I've never seen one like it in the universe before.
And it was like this whole Imperial crew. None of them have ever been seen before. I mean, they weren't any of like the major officers or anybody that's been on before that I recognized. They all look new, just like randos. For like 5 seconds, you don't know if Chopper's gonna make it, but of course he comes back. So then they're like all celebrating and they're like, yay, AP5 saved the day, good for him. And then they realize like he's not there because he's floating out in space. And this is like the weirdest thing I've probably ever seen in Rebels. So it shows AP5 floating out in the middle of outer space, and he's like super calm, and he's like, I should be scared, but this is amazing. I love being alone. It's so quiet out here. And there's like all these weird like space/sea creatures floating and swimming like around him, like, and he starts singing. It's like it turns into a musical for a few minutes. He starts singing, and then they pick him up in their ship, and he's pretty upset. Oh my gosh. That's the biggest wasp I've ever seen. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a gigantic wasp inside of our Nerds Unite recording studio.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut this short. So then, they pick him up, and he's kind of upset that they disturbed his peaceful floating in space. And then right away, Chopper and
Mom.
something's got to happen with that Hornet.
It's a wasp.
Whatever it is, it's got to go. It's him or me.
Oh my gosh.
Nolan, you're such a wuss.
Stay tuned. I get out of here. Get. I'm getting out.
Oh my god.
Oh, I missed.
Get out of here, Nolan.
Hold on. I've almost got him. I can't get him. He's underneath the lamp. Am I? I'm trying to kill him with a Jin Urso action figure. Still in package. No, he keeps being too close to things.
What is it? Where is it?
Would you shut up? Ah! Got him.
Can you get some toilet paper and get it out of here? Don't
Yeah.
use your sock.
I am going to use
No,
my
go
sock.
get some toilet paper and give it to him.
I don't want him stinging me. You guys continue the podcast. Why don't you give more of your 100 million mile long synopsis?
Okay, right away, as soon as they get AP5 back in, Chopper's back to his, snarky self. He's arguing, and he actually, takes out some of his little, his arms that he has, different little, I don't know what you call them, weapons on, and it starts, swinging, and he hits Wedge, and he tries to hit AP5, and then that's about it. It ends with them fighting just like it began, with them fighting, and
It's like everything's back to normal.
everything's all good. They still have the codes to Lothal, but anything that the Empire might have gotten from Chopper, they blew up, so
Yeah.
we don't think they have their base location. As soon as we were hiding in the bedroom while you tried to kill that thing, Nolan whispers to me, "Mom, your synopsis was way too long."
Yeah,
It
it
was.
was way too long.
Extremely long.
It was as long as the episode. We're 18 minutes in.
Yeah,
and
anybody who
only
hasn't
1 minute was wasp killing.
anybody who hasn't seen the episode at this point doesn't really need to see it anymore.
That's the whole
The entire
point,
thing has
Nolan.
been
These people don't have time to sit and watch these episodes, so they hear it from
Well,
me.
there wouldn't have been much time lost if they would have actually watched it.
They can listen to this while they're driving. They can't watch TV while they're driving.
Okay.
There is still gum in my carpet right down here, in case you're curious. And it's actually much more in the carpet than it was when I asked you to get it out last week.
You must have stomped on it and rubbed it in.
Probably while I was screaming like a girl while trying to kill that
Oh
wasp.
my gosh, that was so scary. I think I told you last summer that this was not safe and that there was bugs that could get
I
in
think
here.
I remember that.
And you were always like, "No, it's fine."
Well, I know bugs can get in here, but it is fine. That's the first actual real weird bug we've had in here.
Man, that would have been so scary if I was up here doing homework and I just out of nowhere just looked over my shoulder and saw that hovering above me.
You would have been okay.
Oh yeah, I would have been okay, but I would have
Maybe he's allergic. Maybe he would have died in
maybe.
My Girl.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Okay. Yeah, that synopsis is way too long, and that episode was way too long. I could do without that episode altogether.
Yeah, it was. Oh, another thing with that episode, Kanan is still gone, and they haven't said a word about where he is or what he's doing. He's been gone
Don't
lately.
know. I'm sure they'll talk about it in some of the next episodes.
Well, there's only 3 episodes left, so.
They did hint at this being a musical at the beginning, when they were like, anything you can do, I can do better.
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
I can do anything.
Well, they
better
didn't.
than you.
They didn't sing.
No, you can't. Yes, I can.
Well, they weren't singing,
started to
but-
put a little bit
Well,
of the
no.
song's cadence into it.
The two robots were fighting, and
Yeah,
AP5
kept
was
saying,
like,
yes, I can. No, you can't.
and Chopper was just making noises.
Right, but you could obviously tell he was saying, no, you can't. So the seeds for a musical had been sown.
That's a pretty good idea. I never even thought about that.
And AP5 singing at the end with those space fairies was super weird.
Yeah, that was so
I told you, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a Rupples episode. It just was like, is this really happening? Every time I hear AP5's voice, all I can think of is that actor from Die Hard. And that's not even the actor that does his voice, so it's very weird. But he sounds exactly like him.
I actually really like AP5.
Yeah, I like him too.
What else do you have to say about this episode, Nolan?
I forget. What's like the green, like the person who like zapped
Hera?
this? Yeah. When she told the crew that like she noticed something was wrong with Chopper, and then like Ezra was like, oh, now that you mention, he is being rather nice. Like, I just thought that was really weird because the entire time AP5 had been talking about that. It's like, why are you just now like agreeing with what she said? Like, oh, now that you mention it, it's like he's been telling you that like the entire time.
They were trying to show that the droids don't get any respect because they bicker so much. It was a lesson for children to try to teach them that kids should not fight or else adults won't take them seriously.
Really? You think so?
I was just trying to turn it into a lesson from a boy.
Yeah, that's why AP5 was really frustrated because he kept trying to tell them.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for him actually. And he couldn't be in his like little paradise at the very end. He was all happy by himself.
That was so weird. I thought it was kind of like, I mean, Hera was ruthless when she like freaked out. And Ezra, it was kind of funny. Ezra was like, "Uh-oh, Hera's mad," and then she like kills this entire crew of people
Yeah,
like it's nothing.
I actually really liked the Imperial officer guy for some reason.
It's because he was like a hacker.
Yeah, they were like, they all had on like these headsets with mics, and they were sitting. I mean, it looked like they were in an IT command center or something.
Yeah,
They were all sitting at computers.
One of them had a Lobot biotech thing on.
Uh-huh.
I'm ready to review this. I can't believe we spent 23 minutes on this episode so far. I was going to give it a 5 until the end, which was so ridiculous. I'm downgrading this to a 3.
Out of 5, right?
3 out of
No.
10.
Oh.
10.
This
What would you
episode
give
was
it, Nolan?
Well, I don't really know what
Ugh.
to. I guess I don't really know what to compare it to that much because I haven't seen that many other Rebel
don't compare it
episodes.
to anything else by itself.
Okay, I'm just making a comment. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
If anything, that thing at the end raised it up for me from like a 4 to a 6.
You like the scene?
Yeah, I
the
thought it was
outer
funny.
space droid
I thought it was
scene?
funny.
Okay.
It was kind of
Otherwise-
strange.
That's what I liked it. Like I wasn't expecting it. It was really random, weird.
I was going to say 5.5.
Okay.
It was not great. I mean, there wasn't anything bad about it except for the weird singing.
I don't know.
But it just like
I was.
both times I've watched it, I've almost fallen asleep.
Yeah, it's so boring and it is completely unnecessary.
That's what it seemed like. Even though I haven't really been watching it, it did. I could still kind of tell like this episode was just kind of like there to be there. Like
It's
it didn't-
filler. Yeah.
What would you call it? A bridge episode, Nolan?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Just kidding. Tim used to call lots of episodes bridge episodes. I just wanted to see if your first impression would be a bridge.
On to letters. Letters at starwarsnerdsunite.com if you want to be read on the air after one of Jennifer's patented synopsi. This is the first episode Mason wasn't on, by the way.
It is. It's very strange.
First one ever. Yeah, it is strange.
And I don't think he's happy about missing it either.
No, he did a lot of homework. He sent in a bunch of responses.
He's
to
like, what are you guys
emails.
going to talk about?
He was really worried about it. He's sad, but we promised Tuesdays. Here we go. This one's from the desk of Michael Richard Young Sr. First off, congratulations on your son. When are you expecting?
December 5th.
My opinion on the names question. What is wrong with Junior? Keep in mind that you are naming an adult. This will be forever. Don't make the first thing someone knows about your son a challenge. On a slightly related topic, as someone who has dug into my genealogy, either a junior or pedigree makes tracing your family in a couple hundred years very helpful. But if you want to ignore all of that, feel free to use Michael as a first name. It works well with your last name. Michael Richard Young Sr. of the London Young family circa 1350. Holy cow. That's a long ways back.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not worried about tracing this generation just because we have the internet. So that's...
I saw that Jeff just did this thing where he traced his genealogy with a blood test to see like what his... where his descendants were from. Or his ancestors.
That's fascinating.
What nationality, yeah. Did you see that?
No.
My brother's name is Junior. Tim has thought about naming the baby Tim Jr., and I'm kind of against it.
She's really against it? What do you think of that, Nolan? Do you think we should name the baby Tim Jr.?
No.
My brother, his first name isn't Junior, but he is a junior.
And everybody calls him Junior.
And like our whole childhood, everybody in my family, they still do calls him Junior. That's what we call him.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're just named after like your dad and don't have your own name, like, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have my own name, not just be taking off somebody else's, like my own personality, you know?
Interesting you should say that because Mason chimes in with his own feedback. He says, this is a Mason note. He says, going with a junior, the third, etc., creates an unreasonable expectation of assuming identity, in my opinion. Our progeny already walk around with the same surname. Why burden them with the shackles of that forced comparison?
Why burden them with the surname? He didn't even want to give Job a last name.
Really?
He wanted to name him Job with no middle name or last name.
I've never heard of that before in my life. I didn't even know that you could do that.
You can't.
Well, you can't because he found out that you have to have a last name on the birth certificate.
Huh.
So he wasn't able to do that.
It would be unfair of me to try to make my son live up to me. So that's a good point.
I do agree with Mason. I think that, yeah.
Next email from Jesse. He says, hey everyone, Jesse here. So I'm currently listening to episode 108. I'm all caught up. It took about 2 months, but I finally caught up. Episode 107 was great. You guys had me laughing pretty bad. It also is pretty clear to hear, or cool to hear all 3 of my letters read on the air. Made my day. The rant you guys went on after my lightsaber weight question was great when you started going on about the phone cases. Also, as much as I would love it, I don't think we're going to get a Reylo theory confirmation since there's not going to be a romance in The Last Jedi. If we wanted a well-written love story, saving it for the last movie would be pretty stupid because we need that space for the final act of the trilogy. I still love a Reylo to happen, but I won't be mad if it doesn't.
What's Reylo?
Well, it's like J-Lo. Oh, not like J-Lo. It's like what they call Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Brangelina?
Brangelina. It's like that. Like where Rey and Kylo get together in a relationship.
Oh, I didn't know where the low was coming from. I didn't. I get it now.
Okay. Josh says, I am fully invested in Reylo coming on hard in episode 9.
Okay.
He's ready. He can take
My
it.
15-year-old son is snickering at that comment.
Is he?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's snickering.
He was. It was funny.
Let's see. So listening to episode 108, I'm hearing all these lightsaber questions. Wonder if my question had more people thinking about it. Maybe because it's something we just don't think about in terms of how heavy the weapon is, because we're all focused on how awesome some of the choreography is. And when Josh said that the blade was made out of light, I thought that was just as cool as finding out lightsabers are red because dark Jedi bleed the crystals. Nah, this is way cooler. Look, like how epic is that? Mason note. Our listeners are very responsive, thankfully. If you pose an interesting question, we always get lots of awesome feedback. Lightsabers are a constant source of fascination for me. I wish they were real. Frowny face. We do get a lot of feedback from listeners and stuff.
A lot of people wrote in about the weight of the lightsabers and different hilts.
Well, there's some listeners that actually like interact on Twitter.
With each other.
Yeah.
Apart from us. They've friended each other.
That is correct.
Yes.
We're bringing people together.
That's what
uniting nerds.
We're called Star Wars Nerds Unite.
That's right. Do you have any thoughts on the weight of a lightsaber, Nolan? How heavy do you think it is?
I have absolutely no idea.
So
that actually has never even crossed my mind.
It could weigh as much as an elephant.
How much do you think it would weigh? Just by like looking at how they handle it.
I have no idea. I'm not very good at judging how much things weigh.
I thought it would weigh about as much as a heavy phone. And Josh thought it weighed like 500 pounds.
I'm probably more on the heavy phone side.
Me too.
I mean, I don't know.
We found out for sure that in the beginning they weighed more like 60 pounds or something crazy. That's why they had to use two hands and do more like a broadsword fighting. They couldn't move it very quickly, but now they're much lighter. I don't know.
That was what George Lucas told them. He said, imagine you're holding the really heavy sword. And then in the later ones, they said you're holding like a katana, like a ninja weapon.
Yeah.
Darth Maul must be pretty strong then.
Must be. Anyways, love listening to you guys. I started listening to my Destiny podcast again, so when I'm not listening to you guys, I at least have something to listen to, since you guys completely blew my Elder Scrolls podcast out of the water. Boom. Take that, Morrowind.
Take that what?
Morrowind.
What's
it's
that?
One of the Elder Scrolls games.
Oh.
And when I see you guys post a new episode, I listen to it immediately. With my 9-month-old at work, I don't have much time to watch anything except my one-day binge of House of Cards I just had of the new season that just released. And hearing you guys talk about Rebels really fills me in on my Star Wars canon that I miss. Talk to you guys soon. Alter 23 out.
Tim recently found House of Cards.
Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
After I read this email was when I thought, you know what? If Jesse's going to watch House of Cards, the last season in one day, I might as well give it a shot. And then I housed it in like 6 days.
You're not done yet, though, right?
Oh, I'm finished.
When? Yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, because I was at work all night. He seriously watched how many episodes or how many seasons are out? Like 12 or some crazy number?
I think there's 65 episodes out.
And they're all an hour long.
Almost an hour.
You started it seriously like 2 weeks or less ago. Like.
Oh, definitely less than 2 weeks.
Like.
It's been since his email, which was on June 1st.
And it's only June 13th, so.
How many has he seen? How many episodes?
Like 65.
He's seen all of them?
Yes.
Wow.
That's like all he's been doing. So thanks, Jesse. Please don't recommend any more good shows.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It kind of took over Tim's life.
It's fine. Nobody's likable on that show.
I know. That's why I got sick of watching it. Like, I was going to watch it with you in the beginning. I didn't know it was going to be such a dark obsession of yours.
I just had
but
to get it
then I
done
was
with.
like, wait, okay. Nobody on here is worth rooting for.
No, there's
There's
good
like
guy.
nothing positive. And
They're
then
all bad guys.
as soon as somebody has like just like a tiny slice of humanity, they're murdered. So it's like you can't
Spoilers.
Well, I'm not telling anything. Whatever.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding you.
I spoil everything for everyone. Yeah, so.
Next up, Coxtimus. He says, this morning, as I'm getting ready for work, for some reason the line, "They're all gonna laugh at you," popped in my head. This is a line from the Adam Sandler CD, and I was thinking, man, I really should listen to that again. It's been forever. So as I start my drive to work, instead of finding that CD on Spotify, I saw there was a new SW&U app, so listen to that instead. Then Tim mentioned that CD. What the heck are the odds of that? Never tell me the odds. Either I'm psychic or Tim can read minds. Good job on the synopsis, Janoshua.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, I emailed him back and I said great minds, but that's nuts that we both thought about that Adam Sandler CD like the same day, basically. How crazy.
That is very crazy. Maybe Nolan. Do you think it has something to do with the,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. What does it have to do with?
The Mandela effect?
Yes. I already told everybody on the podcast that you are obsessed with the Mandela effect and that you talk about it all the time.
Mason, to that email, he says, I prefer Joshifer.
What did Coximus call?
Janoshua.
Oh, I like that one better. Joshua. He just wants his name first.
Next up is from Chris. He says, "Hey, SWNU. I have to start this email with some bad news. I do not have a hidden cardboard box of the Wayne's World MTV special.
Dang it.
However, I am eagerly awaiting the story of how the box was never actually in the room full of cabinets, baby items, and hidden spare box TVs. It was actually pulled into the squirrel haven that is the attic, where they enjoy it nightly with deck wood snacks." Oh my gosh.
He's bringing back like every stupid story I've ever said about my dad's house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Good callbacks.
We were at my little nephew's birthday party this weekend, and my dad was like sitting and talking to my aunt and uncle, and he was like, "Hey, how many episodes you guys got now? Are you still doing your podcast?" And then I was like, "Yeah, we're like 110 episodes or something." And like he was telling my aunt and uncle about it, like bragging about it to them. But then he was like, "I've still never listened to it." And now I'm thinking, oh man, maybe I don't want him to ever listen to it. Maybe I'll just tell him that we
canceled
it. We canceled. It got canceled, Dad.
It took us off the air.
And we lost all of our tapes of the show, so you can't ever listen to it.
We put the tapes with the squirrels.
It's with your Wayne's World VHS tape somewhere.
Josh says, "Do you have a secret Evernote somewhere where you are world building and cataloging Jen's parents' house?"
That's awesome. Oh my God, that's kind of creepy the way he said that. That's hilarious.
I think people just remember things that we say, which is awesome.
Nolan, I've told a lot of weird stories about Grandpa, like his house, about how like we pulled up. Were you in the car when we pulled up on the street in front of his house and there was literally a squirrel biting the steps on the porch?
No.
What? That happened, and I went up to the door and I was like, "Dad, there was a squirrel out here gnawing on your steps." And he was just like, "Yeah, they always do that."
That's how I would expect him to react.
Yeah. And he just was like, whatever. And I thought it was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But then other people started telling us in emails that that's how squirrels sharpen their teeth.
What?
I know. Isn't it weird?
By biting stairs? They can't bite anything else?
Biting wood.
Oh.
They like sharpen it on wood. But you would think they would do it in the tree they live in since it's full of wood.
They want to mess with their house.
Yeah.
That's true.
Chris continues, "I digress. With regards to episode 108, I would like to say congratulations to Tim and Jen. This is great news, and I hope Jen is doing well."
I am. Thank you.
I laughed out loud during the episode when you were talking about Star Wars timelines regarding Rey and Josh slide into a Darkest Timeline reference. I just pictured everyone with felt goatees, and as for middle names, I am among the group with two, although anything official always just has the first initial, so it never comes up unless I tell people. Speaking of names, I got my nickname because people I work with couldn't pronounce my last name, so they just said Koala, which does not shorten Chris in any way. That is funny. Mm-hmm. His last name is Kawa.
Yeah, I can see why Koala would be a nickname.
Mason says, "All community references go over their heads. I've dropped, or you'll what? Do twice the work of a doctor for half the pay in regular conversation with Jen, and it went whoosh."
I used to watch Community all the time.
I feel like everyone calling each other by their middle name in regular conversation would be a key indicator of the Darkest Timeline. I think we should do a Darkest Timeline episode where we do, in fact, put on felt goatees. Chris continues, "I also attached a picture from Fan Expo in Toronto last year with a cool Amidala and Rey. I don't know what, if any, hidden treasures are in the background, but I'm sure you can find some."
That was a good picture.
Mason says, "Other than the giant corn sign up in the corner and the lady who smells farts, it's pretty mundane. There wasn't a lot in the background."
Yeah, I like scanned it and I didn't see anything major popping out.
Just him looking super happy with a couple of cosplayers. He says, "Congratulations again on the baby." Ooh, my goodness. "On the baby, I hope everything goes well. May the force be with you." Okay, we got 2 more letters before we're going to call it quits tonight.
Oh my God. What the heck? What just happened?
Was that another hornet?
It was a wasp. He was on my arm.
There is a freaking wasp nest in this room.
Did it land on your arm, Tim?
Yeah, he was on my arm.
Oh my
We're not doing any more. We're wrapping it up right now, and then Tim is gonna de-wasp this room before we
Are
can.
you seriously going to end the podcast right now?
Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with these wasps attacking me.
Do you think you're gonna have to change the location of the podcast too?
No, I think Tim is gonna have to seal up whatever crack is in this window and get the wasps out of here.
Okay. I'll have to edit out my last
This
girly
is the
scream.
girliest scream you've ever done.
I was like, what?
Well, if you had that thing crawling on you, I guarantee you would have screamed a lot girlier.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that would be expected of me. Okay. Sorry for the last two emails that we don't get to read. Josh can just do his responses himself. We're going to record this weekend.
I cannot believe there was another one.
I can. It's a nest. And
Maybe-
they're probably sending like chemical pheromone messages to each other that says there's a bunch of wimps in here that need attacked.
That's so weird that like the only two wasps we've ever seen have been like right at the same time.
It's not weird. They've set up shop in here. They live in
Just
here.
right now they've just started doing
It's
it.
probably underneath the air conditioner, and they're crawling in through the air conditioner because it's not running.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So we're going to record this weekend. I think we're going to try to finish Rebels.
Yes?
We're on BenView Network.
Boy, Jenny's wrapping this up.
Retro Junkies.
Yeah, we
We have a
just end it.
Patreon, Amazon link on our website, starwarsnerdsunite.com. Is that our email? Is that our, I don't know what that is. I don't know what our email
You're doing great, Jenny.
I don't know what our
doing
email
great.
is.
May the force be with
Oh,
you.
letters at Star Wars Nerds Unite.
Wait, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.